Spoiled Rotten Podcast. Ready, set, go. Go, dogs.
For years, college football had one king, the SEC. More titles, more NFL players, more intimidation. It just means more. But now, the Big Ten has money, brands, TV power, massive expansion, and maybe the biggest weapon of all, control. This isn't just a conference rivalry anymore, it's a cold war for the future of college football. If you zoom out for a second, everything happening in college football right now somehow connects back to these two leagues. Playoff expansion, SEC versus Big Ten. TV money, SEC versus Big Ten. Scheduling debates, automatic bids, conference power, all roads lead back here. And what makes this fascinating is that both conferences think they're winning, just in completely different ways. The SEC built its dominance the old-fashioned way, winning. Nick Saban changed the sport. Georgia became a machine. LSU produced NFL talent non-stop. Alabama turned championships into routine. For nearly 2 decades, the SEC became the college football's final boss. And eventually, the perception became, if you survive the SEC, you survive anybody. And that reputation mattered. Recruits believed it, networks sold it, and fans defended it like a religion. The SEC didn't just win games, it won the narrative. But while the SEC dominated Saturdays, the Big Ten quietly built something else. Power behind the scenes. Massive alumni bases, huge TV markets, historic brands like Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, USC, and Oregon. Then came the television deal. The Big Ten stopped thinking like a conference and started acting like a corporation. Now, schools are projected to make enormous annual payouts. And that changes everything. Facilities, recruiting, NIL collectives, coaching salaries, and national reach. The SEC built football dominance, the Big Ten built infrastructure, and now those two powers are colliding. So who's actually winning? It depends on what you value. If you care about championships, NFL talent, depth of competition, it's still the SEC. Top to bottom, the SEC still feels like the toughest weekly grind in college football. But if you're talking revenue, media leverage, expansion strategy, and political influence, the Big Ten may actually hold a stronger position moving forward, especially after adding West Coast brands. That move wasn't just expansion, it was territory acquisition. The playoff battle is the real war, and this is where things get serious, because the playoff format may decide who controls the sport. The SEC generally wants a format that rewards strength of schedule and elite competition. The Big Ten wants a guaranteed access and structural stability. And both conferences know one thing. If you control playoff access, you control recruiting. Imagine a future where the SEC gets 5 automatic spots, Big Ten gets 4 or 5, and everybody else fights over scraps. At that point, college football starts looking less like a national sport and more like 2 super conferences running everything. Honestly, we may be already there. What happens in the next few years? Here's what feels likely over the next 5 years. More consolidation. The gap between the SEC and Big Ten and everyone else probably grows, financially especially. Bigger playoffs, not smaller, more inventory, more games, more money. That train probably isn't stopping. Scheduling alliances. Don't be surprised if future schedules become SEC versus Big Ten Showcase weekends, more crossover matchups, more made-for-TV events, because TV executives love recognizable brands. But eventually, the SEC and Big Ten could gain enough power to create something close to their own subdivision, a semi-professional super league. And once money reaches a certain level, tradition stops driving decisions. Revenue does. The SEC still owns the aura. The Big Ten may own the future infrastructure. And the scary part for everyone else, these two conferences might not actually need the rest of college football. And that's the real story. Not who's winning today, but who's shaping what the sport becomes tomorrow. The next version of college football may look nothing like the ones fans grew up loving. So which conference is really winning right now? SEC or Big Ten? And the bigger question, are we headed toward two super conferences controlling everything? Unfortunately for the sport, it does seem like television money has gotten firm control of the sport. It seems like they've had a master plan they've been implementing bit by bit for over 20 years. They were talking about super conferences in 2000. They were talking about a super big league. They were talking about mirroring the NFL playoff structure. It looks like that they may be actually simply following some master plan that's been put in place a long time ago. Now, the interesting thing is, television money does control the sport now, but college football is not the NFL. And I don't know that you can ever corral that many cats into one place. You're going to have to ask colleges to give up a lot of power, and the money that's dangled in front of them, it may be getting smaller, and now the expense required to get that money keeps going up. So television may at some point be losing control. And it may be why they're acting so fast now to get things on board to their master plan that they perhaps had a long time ago. No, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I have watched the news. I've watched the sports scene for 20 years, and we've all seen, and we've all known that the day we're looking at was coming. Well, what could make a difference? Well, a lot of things could make a difference. I think the smaller conferences are going to step up. If money shapes the game, money is in different places. There's a lot of money outside the SEC and outside the Big Ten. And I really don't think that we necessarily have to follow that NFL model. And I think what it boils down to is there's one group that's most affected by all of this that seem to be left out of the equation. We don't get to go to the boardrooms and make the decisions, but you're the fan. You're paying for all of this. They're all fighting over your money and changing the sport that you came to love while they're doing it. At some point, if you want a recognizable college football, you may have to make your money that you give start talking for you. As a fan, if you just stay quiet, this game could turn unrecognizable very quickly.